Hello guys, welcome you all to AI Ki Pathshala. Today is the 14th session in Pandas data frame. So this is basically a continuation of the 13th session. In the 13th session, what we have discussed, we have basically studied, we were using the regex to separate the unit from my numeric values that is present in my data frame. So this is basically a continuation of that. So I have given it a name, collecting the units. So you will understand the significance of this term that I have given here as we will progress. So first of all, as per our usual practice, we will first import these two libraries. Then we will read the nutrition data set. And then we will set name as my index column, name as my index. And then I will read the first 5 records or first 5 observation nutrition.head. So this is what we were used to do in every session. This is not a new thing for us. Now let's come to our main thing that we are going to study in this session. So at the end of the previous lecture in 13th session, we said that it might be a good idea to extract the units. We have said it might be a good idea to extract the units. This is my units. G, here MCG, these are the units. So to extract the units from each one of the column, from each one of the column, I have told you that it will be a good idea to extract the units and then embed that unit into the column levels so that we should not lose the identity of the particular column. We should remember, because if we remove the units from each one of the column and if we do not put it somewhere, then we will actually lose the identity of that column. We do not remember which column exactly have which unit. So that's why I've told you that it is a good idea to extract the units from these columns and put it inside the column level here. So in this lecture, we will take the first steps towards doing that by first isolating the units themselves. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to isolate these units first. This is the first thing that I'm going to study today. So, and one thing that I want to tell you, I have selected this particular data frame on purpose so that we could get some practice with the kind of problems that you might run into when you are working with the real world data. You know, it's almost never be the case that you will get a perfect quality data right from the beginning, from the start. So more often you will get the kind of data in which you need to perform a lot of cleaning activity and transformation activity that you need to do there. So now my question is, how are we going to isolate the units from there? So we will start simple by first removing the numeric values from our data set. So for isolating the units, what I'm going to do here, I will remove all the numeric values that is present in my data set. That is what I'm going to do. Anything that is not a unit needs to go away. So all the numeric things I will isolate from this data set, right? Now, if we remove all the numbers, that is all the numeric values, the only thing remaining will be my units. Only thing that will remain here will be my units. So one way to remove the numbers. So now the first thing that I am going to do is I will remove the numbers. Now, one way to remove the number is to use the replace method as we were using earlier with the regex pattern that identifies the numeric portion of each string and then replaces it out. So let's set that. So I'm going to use the same thing here. So what we were doing with the in the previous session, we have already discussed. Let's say this is my data set nutrition. So I'm going to use this replace method, replace replace method. And inside this replace method, what I'm going to do, I will first specify the pattern that I need to get replaced. here I will specify the pattern that I need to get replaced. And thereafter, I will put the value here, which I value to be replaced with. Whatever value I need to get replaced, I will specify that value. And thereafter, I will put this regex is equal to, I will put the regex parameter is equal to true. This is the thing I need to do in my nutrition data. Now, so have you understood these things? What is my this thing, and this thing? This is the thing. Here I will specify a pattern to be replaced. And here I will specify a value to be replaced with that pattern. And here I will set the regex pattern to be true. Now, if you do this, what will happen? So now, before we decide on the pattern, before we actually decide on the pattern, let's pick a set of some random units from our data frame. So for picking some random units from our data frame, what I will do? I will use this simple method that is called, I will use some sample here to select some columns. So let me select this one. Let's say I will write nutrition, and after that, I am writing sample. First, I am going to do this on the sample for making our understanding. So let's pick up a set of sample units. So for that, I need to write here nutrition.sample, and I need first, let's say I need 20 columns, 20 random columns from the nutrition data set. I need to get 20 columns. So I have to specify that here. And thereafter, I have to specify the axis, because my column level is, this is my axis 0, row level is my axis 0, and column level is my axis 1. And I want a random set of data, column data. I want a random set of 20 columns. So that's why I need to specify the axis is equal to 1. Here I need to specify axis parameter is equal to 1. So that it will take the column, not it shall not take the row, it shall take the column. So this thing, what it will do, it will, this sample nutrition.sample, this will take 20 column sample from this nutrition data. And let's see, for making our understanding things easier, I am taking the first 5 observations. So if I will do this thing, let's see what I am getting. Can you see? I am getting this data frame. So this is a 20 column. I am getting the 20 column. If you count these columns, you will get, this is a 20 columns I am getting. And this is a random column I am getting here. Now, if I look at these columns, let's see what are the units that I am dealing with. See here, I am getting this some numeric value, then space mg, this space gram, space mg. Is there any other units? Here there is no space, numeric value, and there is no space, and gram is there. Likewise, here there is a unit called mcg, space mcg. Fine. So these are some of the units that I am getting. I am not getting anything that is in uppercase. All the units that I am seeing here is in lowercase. So let's take another sample. I am rerunning it again. So let's run it again so that I may get one sample, one column that may have some uppercase value. So can you see this time, apart from all the units, commonly seen units. There is one unit here, vitamin underscore D, which is having a unit in uppercase, capital IU, capital IU. So this is fine. So I'm going to take this sample. Fine. So let's take some records from this sample. Let's see what I am going to do. Let's take some values. Let's take this thing. Let's see. I am taking this. This is my MG. So let's take this value. I'm taking this value and let's paste it here. Then let me take some value which is having gram. Let's take this value. This is having gram. Fine. Okay. Then let's take this value which do not have a space and gram. Okay, so let's is this thing or let's take a value which do not have a space and it is in gram. So which is the value which do not have a space in between? Let me see. I suppose there is no such value here. Fine. So in fact, let's take another sample then. Let's take another sample. Here it is there. Fine. So I'm taking this sample. Now this sample is fine for me. So I have already taken this. Let's take the data from this sample now. This is my final sample because whatever I am looking for, all are present. All these values are present here. Let's take some values like if I, let's say, take gram values, let's take this. Let's take this. Fine. Thereafter, let's take mg, some values related to mg. What is my mg? Let's take this value of mg. Let's take this value. mg, fine. Let's put it here. Then let's take a value which doesn't have a space and gram. So it is present there. Here it is. Let's say take this value. Fine. Thereafter, let's take one value which is related to IU. So this is my IU. So let's take this value. Let's take any value, doesn't matter. Let's take this value. And if you want to take this, you can also take some value like MCG. So let's take this value MCG. Fine. So I have collected some sample of the units with numeric and units here. And what I'm going to do thereafter, after collecting this, I'm going to copy these values over to my regex lab, which I have already discussed with you in the last session, regex101.com. And there what we will do, we will test these strings and we will explore our regex pattern. So this is the thing. Let's say these are the units that is present in my sample and I want to replace these units. So for doing this, I need a regex pattern. And from where I shall get the regex pattern? I will use regex101.com, regex x lab, that is called regex x lab. And I will look for the pattern which will signify these units. So what I'm going to do, I'm just copying all these things and then I'm going to open the regex lab and I will paste it there. Fine. So I have opened my regex101.com. Let's paste those patterns which I have just now copied. So this is the pattern which I have copied. Now the question is, how do we select all the numeric characters? This is my numeric characters here. This is my numeric characters. This is my numeric character. This is my numeric character. This is my numeric characters. And there is space. There is a space here. There is space. Here there is no space. And then this is my unit. So remember, our goal is to identify, here my goal is to identify the regular expression that selects all the numeric characters. My goal is, because I want to remove my numeric part from this unit part. So, or the string part, you can say. So my goal is to select the, to get the string pattern that will select all my numeric characters, so that we replace them with nothing, because I want to replace it with nothing. Fine. So and the only one thing that will be remaining thereafter, if we replace it, that will be remaining will be the units. So, but how we are going to do that in regex? So we can use the character sets. Again, see, we will talk about the regex in details in a future section when we will be talking about the text manipulation. But for now, note that a character set allows us to match one of the several characters. And in regex, they are defined using the square bracket. So let's put here a square bracket. After a square bracket, to define the character set within this square bracket, we are going to specify a range of characters, specifically the range of characters from small a to small z. If I am putting here small a to small z, can you see whatever thing that is in small letters, that is in lowercase letters, gets selected here. Whatever text pattern which is in the lowercase from A to Z gets selected here. It's get highlighted in blue color, if you can see this thing. Now, so we are saying select the letters from A to Z. So see, this G, this small m, this small z, this small g, mcg all get highlighted. Now, but the only thing that doesn't get highlighted here is capital IU or the uppercase IU. So let's also add a range of character for the uppercase letter as well. So for adding the range of characters for uppercase letters, we have to write capital A or the uppercase A to uppercase Z. As soon as I will put this, can you see this thing, this capital IU also get highlighted. So this time you can see all my strings pattern inside this thing get highlighted, that is all those get selected. Capital I and capital U is also matching. So at this point, we have selected all the substrings that contains the characters, which in our case represent the units. These are basically units in our case. Now, remember, our purpose here was to identify a pattern that captures anything that is not a unit. My purpose was to identify anything that is not a unit, but I have selected unit here. So somehow we need to flip this around. And for doing that, fortunately, in regex, this is as simple as negating the entire characters set. So, and now we need to do that by adding a caret symbol after opening this square bracket. So here, after opening this square bracket, this is called caret symbol. If I simply add this symbol, this will get negated. Can you see? If you remove this caret symbol, again, it all the character thing gets selected. Now, if I put this caret symbol, see, all the string that got selected earlier got deselected, and other things got selected. That is all my numeric parts and the space, which was in between numeric and the character part got selected there. So this is now. So what I am doing here, we went from selecting the units and after that we add caret and we select anything but the units. Now the units got deselected and I wanted that also. So we have effectively negated this pattern. Very nice. I know this sounds something like a foreign language at this point of time, but if we break it down step by step, it really is not at all complicated. So let's do a quick recap of how we have arrived here. So that's why I'm going to delete all those things and I'm going to explain it once again so that you should understand it well. So we are going to use the character set, which we have defined using the square bracket. So first, let's say I have put this square bracket. Fine. Then we select, after putting this square bracket, we will select a character from a small a to small z, or lowercase small a to lowercase small z. If let's say I'm putting this, oh sorry, let's put it inside the square bracket, small a to small z. Can you see all the lowercase letters get selected and the uppercase letters is not selected yet? Now, in this case, because we don't have anything from, we can also select. In fact, here instead of this a to z, we can also select from z to z. This will also work fine because here we don't have anything before g, so we can do that. But let's say it would be better, it's a general thing that I want to do. That's why I'm putting small a to small z. Fine. Then also capital letters. So for capital letters, I need to put capital A to capital Z. Then all my capital letters will get selected. Then again, remember our goal was to select anything except the unit. So I will negate these things. So how I will remove? I will put a caret symbol just after putting this square bracket. So just put this caret symbol. Now everything get negated and all my numeric part and this space get selected and this get not selected. So now we understand we have selected all the numeric side of these units. Now that's great. Now let's copy this. I'm going to copy this thing, this string pattern. I'm going to copy this. Let's copy this. And now I'm going to head back to our notebook and I will use this pattern to do the replacement. So let's come to our notebook. So see what I'm going to do. Let's write nutrition dot replace. Thereafter, can you see these things? Now, first thing is that we will put the string pattern. So whatever we have copied from there, I am going to paste it here. Then I want to replace these patterns. That is all the numeric. This is basically, this pattern signifies all my numeric portion. So I am going to replace those numeric portion with nothing. That's why here, since I want to replace those part with nothing, I'm going to put, I'm keeping it blank. I'm not writing anything here. Then I'm putting this regex is equal to true. So after this, if I run this, let's run this and see what happens. Now, if I'm running this, I'm getting this new data frame. Can you see? And in this new data frame, all the numeric values get removed and only the units are remaining. Can you see any numeric value here? No numeric value is present here. Only the units are present here. So it seems like we get a data frame where only the units is remaining. But if you watch it closely, there is a strange thing here. What is this? The calories column, this calories column, if you see this calories column, every column here got replaced with the units, but this calorie column still remain untouched by this replacement. And what is the reason behind this? The reason is that the regex is a string manipulation technique, and regex is a string manipulation and domain specific language. So it only targets string columns. Here, whatever column was there, all column was a string column, but only one column is there, this calorie column, which is not a string, which was a, this calorie column is a numeric. If you see here above, and if you go to the calorie column, if you go to the calorie column, see here, can you see this calorie column is a pure numeric column? That is, this column is basically is purely numeric column. It is not a string column. And my regex is only targeting those columns which are strings. It is not targeting the column which are not strings. And since this column is not a string, my calorie column is not a string, regex is not targeting this column. It is skipping it. And this is a, if you simply take this particular column, you will see that this is basically integer series. So it is not affected by regex. Now, how to handle this? So there is a couple of ways we could handle this also, this calorie column also. And I'm going to tell you the easiest way to deal with it right now. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cast all these things. I'm going to cast it. I'm going to cast the entire series to a string before we do our replacement. So whatever I am going to this data frame, I am going to change the entire data frame to the string. So if I change the entire data frame to string, so this calorie column will also get changed into the string value. And when this calorie column will get changed into the string value, and then if I will apply the replacement, then what will happen? Even the calorie column get replaced. So let's see how I'm going to do this. See here, I'm just going to copy this and let's paste it here. Let's paste it here. And thereafter, everything that is here is fine. I'm going to simply add something here called nutrition dot astype as type. We have already studied this as type. Whenever I need to convert the columns into a particular data type, I need to use this as type. And thereafter, inside this, I will put str. So this part, let's forget about this part right now. If you simply put nutrition.as type str, what it will do, it will convert the entire data frame into the string. That is, all the columns present here will get converted into string. Thereafter, I am going to use this dot replace on that converted column, which get converted into a string, all the columns. So when I'm converting all these columns, definitely this calorie column will also get converted into a string. And now the calorie column get converted into string. Now I can easily use my regex. Now the regex pattern will work on the calorie column as well. So if I will run this now, you will see the calorie column get also replaced. Let's run this again. Now see this thing. Can you see? The calories is also gone. Now this time calories is an empty column now, because it doesn't have a numeric value. Any numeric value all get converted into string. So it is an empty column now. It's very good for us. So at this point, we have a data frame of units only. So now if you look at this thing, there will not be any column which doesn't have a there will not be any column here present which is having a numeric value, because I have earlier converted this. Now we have a data frame of units, but there is a couple of gaps. Still there is a couple of gaps. And what are those gaps? Let's understand what are those gaps. Can you see some NaN is there? Some NaN is there inside this. Some columns are like the unitless this calorie is basically my unitless column. It doesn't have any value. That is, it's still unitless. It becomes now unitless. So still, and some column is having NaN values. Some column can, if you see here, some column is having NaN values. So this is some gap in our data frame. And what is another gap is that so what is happening sometimes our data includes units and sometimes it does not. Like in this, in calories there is no unit. In fact, there is unit. Sometimes there is, in some rows there is a unit, and in somewhere there is a NaN values. Somewhere you can see there is no units. So there is still some gap. Now we have to figure out a way to get the appropriate units from each column, because what is our end goal? Our end goal is to get the unit from each one of the column, and I want to add that unit to my column level to maintain the identity of the column. This is my end goal. But if I will say, let's say there is a NaN value, here G is there, NaN is there. So how can we figure out whether this is my unit, or how my whatever thing I am going to do, how I am going to figure out whether this G is my unit or my NaN is my unit? Or if I will talk about this calorie column, how I am going to find out what is the unit of my calorie column? So for that, we have to figure out a way to get the appropriate unit from each column. So first what I will do, I will begin this by, let's assign this inside one variable. So let me copy this thing and let's create one variable, and I am writing the name of this variable as units. And let's assign all these things that I have done till here inside this variable unit. Let's run this. Fine. Now let's, inside these units, I am going to, for my for seeing things easily, I'm going to write what I'm going to do. Let's take first 5 records. So for that, we need to put head here, and let's take first 5 records. Can you see? Here is my first 5 records. Now I'm focusing on the first 5 records only. So the first 5, if you will look at the first 5 observations from our units, you will see out of the 5 observation, if you will, let's say, look at this saturated fat column, if you look at the saturated fat column, out of the 5 observations, 2 NaN values is there, and this G is there. And we know that, from my knowledge, we know that the right unit is gram. NaN is not my right unit. But the question is, how do we figure this out at scale? This is one thing that I know, but let's say if I don't know, in that case, or for applying to the entire data set, how can I know? So how do we manage to do this for all our columns? This is my question. How do we manage to find the units for all exact unit for all my columns? And we cannot just, it's obvious from here that we cannot just pick a row. Because of these unpredictable gaps, we cannot just pick one row and then we will figure it out. I cannot simply take one row and inside that I will, by seeing that row, I can figure it out the the unit of the all the columns, because of this unpredictable gap. Because some row, even some columns doesn't have. If you will see, let's say if I will take this row, can you see? It is clear that this column is having a gram unit. This column is having a gram unit. But if this nan, what can I say? Is the unit of this column nan? If you will look at this, there is a gap. There is no unit present here. There is no unit present here. So how I will deal with this? So there is a way to deal with all those things. So it's not real. It is not reliable to just pick a column at random, because we are bound to come across one of these gaps in relatively unpredictable ways. So one workaround or one solution to that would be to find the mode of units from each column. I'm going to find the mode of units from each one of the columns. So what is the mode? Do you remember? In statistics, the mode is the items that shows up most frequently in a set of values. So if I look at one, let's focus on one column. Let's look at saturated fat. If you look at the saturated fat, if I tell units dot saturated fat, this unit, and run this, what I'm getting? I'm getting this. Can you see? NaN, G, NaN, G, 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 these are basically a series. So if we look at saturated fat in isolation and we are selecting a single column, so we get a series here. This is my series. And if you put it here like this, what I'm getting? Oh, okay, fine. So we are getting a series. And then if we use the value counts method on this series, together in a, so we will get the count of all the unique values in that series. So let's do value counts here. Let's do value counts dot value counts. If you just do this, what you will get? Let's run this. Now see. So by looking at this, what you will understand, what you are getting. You can see there is about 1600 NaN values, 1590, that is around 1600 NaN values, and 7199 G values is there. Fine. So only two things is present inside this saturated fat column. In the unit of the saturated fat columns, NaN values is there and just D is here. And just by looking at this, you can understand this is basically NaN values and this is my gram, this is my unit. But how we will understand? So we get the value count of these things. How do we pick the most common value from each of these columns? So we will simply, if you want to do the most common values that is present here inside this unit, Here you can see the count of the values. But let's say if I want to pick the most common values of this saturated fat units, you need to do simply this thing, dot mode. If you apply mode here, and we know that the most common values that is present here is 7,199, which is my G value. So if you run mode, you can get G here. So mode is Z. So in this way, you understand that this is the most frequently occurring value inside my column level. So this should be my unit. This way, you could use the mode method to the, you have used here mode method to the one column only. That is my series value. One column is basically series. Now I'm going to use my mode method. When we apply mode method to a data frame, to the entire data frame, we get a data frame with a single row containing the values that show up most frequently in each column. Let's do that. Units, write units dot mode, simple. If I simply do this and if I run this, so what I'm getting here? We get another data frame. This is my another data frame. This is basically my data frame with a single row. This data frame is having a single row containing the value that shows up most frequently in each column, which is amazing because it aligns very nicely with what we were looking for. Fine. So in this way, we are able to find the units of each one of the column. So I'm going to save this. So let's assign it inside this thing, inside the same variable units, so that we can use it in the future. Fine. Let's run this. Fine. So have you noticed how we have only have the units from each and every column in our data frame? And this I have done. I have reassigned it so that we can use it in the future. Now let's do one thing. So that's all. So we have covered so much in this lecture. So now take a moment to digest all this and be proud of all the progress that you are making. The skill and the ability to shape data dynamically is very useful in almost any job nowadays. So take a break to celebrate the good progress you have made, and I will see you in the very next session, where we will continue with our data mangling exercises. So that's all for the day. So let's, I'm going to delete these unnecessary cells, and then I'm going to commit these codes. Let's commit these codes and then we are done with the day. Fine. Let's save all these things. So day 14, day 14 completed. Let's put this message, commit. Yes. Sync changes. Okay. Fine. So that's all for the day, guys. So keep learning, keep smiling, and keep commenting. And if you guys are having any doubts, you must comment in the comment section of the video and ask questions. You can also join my Telegram channel. And from there, you can get the link of my free live sessions that I often conduct at 10 p.m. IST. So I give all the updates in the Telegram channel. Thanks. Thanks for coming. Keep coming, keep learning. Bye-bye. Take care.